This morning we're going to cover less than and less than or equal to in MongoDB involving numbers. So the first thing we want to look at is how to identify values that are less than a certain number or less than or equal to a certain number and return those values. So we're going to use SQL 6 here, and I'm going to use the database SQL server, and we're going to do find, and then we're going to look at the pretty version. And you will notice that we have values here. Specifically, let's look at numbers. Number, we have 7, we have a lot of 3s, and we have a 9, and we have 11. So what I want to do is I want to get all the values that are less than 4 so that I can return all of the 3 values. So what I can do is I can call the same method. I'm going to press the up arrow. That way I can quickly call that. And I'm going to do find, and I'm going to look at the column. So what is the column that I'm looking at? Well, that would be the equivalent in SQL Server. But the way that this is arranged, of course, in MongoDB is key value pair. So essentially what I'm looking at is the key number. And I'm going to pass in the less than operator. And for those of you who have done PowerShell, or for those of you who have done C# will know that this actually looks fairly similar to some of the context there. So I'm going to say less than 4. So LT, the $sign LT is less than. And we have 4 because it is a number, it's not a string, right? And so when I press enter, we'll see that we only get the 3 values. Notice that the 11, the 7, and the 9 are not included in this. So we get all of the values. We're specifying this key right here, number, and we're saying, hey, return all of the numeric values that are less than 5. It's not complicated, it's very straightforward, though note that this is a number. This is not a letter, and this object ID here has letters in it as well. Okay, so that's something to understand. We're not dealing with strings here. All right, now, what if we wanted to return all of the values that are less than or equal to 7, which we should, let's see, we had an 11, we had a 9, and we had a 7, and then we had a bunch of 3s, so we should get the 7 and the 3s. Okay, so you'll see that the syntax here is the same syntax where we're finding, we're passing in the column, and now we're saying $sign instead of LT, it's LTE, less than or equal to 7, and then of course we're looking for the pretty outcome, and you will notice that it gives us the 7 as well as the 3s. So those are some simple examples involving numbers in which you are getting either the less than value or you're getting less than or equal to value. Keep in mind, if it is a string, it is going to behave differently. This is dealing with numbers and numeric values only.